Hello, my name is Charlotte, and you are watching episode 4 of Exhale TV. So, today we're going to be talking about how our spiritual practice, and in particular our meditation practice, has really helped bolster our self-confidence and also help us love ourselves a little bit more, which is something that pretty much everybody I know has struggled with either consciously or unconsciously at some point in their life. And today, I can never say it, but I am joined by Jodie from Exhale
Chichester.
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 Oh, well, I'll remember how to say it from now on. I always get stuck into Chichester. Something like that.
Chai. Local people say chai, which I used to say chi when I first moved here. So
I like it though, chai. Okay.
Chai, yeah.
Perfect. So Jodie's joined me today. So if you don't know me, I am the founder of Exhale, and Exhale is the UK's first mind-body class to combine yoga-inspired mindful movement with breath work, with meditation, all set against chart classics. So there's no whale music in sight. And one of the things that we are most famous for is that we are not gurus. We're not guru status teachers. We are just women like you out in the world using our spiritual practice to help us move forward and feel better about ourselves. And that is what this conversation is primarily going to be about today. And the reason why I feel like it's so important at the moment, I was just saying this to Jodie, is because of lockdown. We are literally trapped in our homes with ourselves. And, you know, the way that we form our identity is by going out and doing things. So the job that I do, the places that I go, the clothes that I wear, because at the moment no one can even see what clothes I'm wearing. You know, like a lot of our sense of self and a lot of our identity is built upon what we do outside the home. And that's left us in a bit of a funny position at the moment because we're just sat with exactly who we are without all of that external stuff. But also we're not getting the kind of the validation from society and from the world that we would normally get, you know. So we're just kind of in this space where this is just about me, myself, and I, and obviously the family or the family unit that you've got around you as well. But a lot of the ways that we find validation, that we find acceptance, that kind of bolster our self-love have been taken away from us. So that's why we're having this conversation now. But whilst we wait for a few more people to jump on, if Jodie, you just want to introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about where you are, what you do, what's brought you to Exhale, just a little bit of an introduction.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Jodie. I run Exhale Chichester and Arran. So I started this year, which is the perfect year to obviously start something like this. So it has been a bit of a struggle just because of exactly what Charlotte's just been saying about everything that's been going on. Before that, I was in a corporate position for years, kind of left school. It was all just about getting a job when I left school. It wasn't about doing what you wanted to do. I didn't know what I wanted to do, to be fair. So I just got into an office job, and then that led to something else, and it led to something else. And I did well, but I was always thinking, surely this isn't what I'm supposed to be. I didn't enjoy. I mean, I did enjoy some aspects of it. I loved meeting all the different people and speaking to them, but people always seemed to open up to me whenever I went into stores. We worked for a cleaning company, so I would manage the area managers that would manage different contracts around the country. So I just enjoyed always speaking to the cleaners, to be honest, and all the different cultures and people, and I loved it. And then it was last year, an advert came up about Exhale on Facebook, and I emailed you, and I know Chichester had gone. Chichester had gone. So I think at the time Emma Jane had it, didn't she? Yeah. So, and I went to Cornwall. And I remember you emailed me when I was in Cornwall and said it's come available. And I thought, oh, that's fate. Yeah. got to be done. So I signed up, did all the training and obviously everything, and then aimed to start at the beginning of this year, which just crumbled. We have done some face-to-face classes and we're completely online now, but I love it. It's such a lovely class and it's such a lovely practice to get into, meditation. And I think with all the benefits that I've experienced from it, and I know from other people, and just seeing the participants of the class at the end, when they kind of come up after they've kind of done the meditation, and they're all kind of, I love that, you know, they're just completely relaxed and got that dozy look on their faces, you know, in a lovely way, because they're just, everyone's so relaxed. So, and there's been such lovely feedback. There's been a few classes where it opens up to a few tears.
Yeah.
You've always explained that it's good, you know, it's just a release of your emotions and it's just coming out. And it's good, you know, it's good to cry. And I think when I was younger, it not that it wasn't good to cry, but I was always embarrassed to cry or to show emotion. And now it's good. Like whenever I do get upset now or kind of overwhelmed and I do get a bit teary, I just think it's a release. You're just releasing that emotion. You're not keeping it inside your body, which is good, obviously, for illness and stress and things like that.
And I think that's part of, I mean, it does tie in with what we're going to talk about today. It's like that. It's almost like when you deny your emotions, you're denying part of who you are. You know, and that in turn, what is that saying to your psyche? What is that saying to your subconscious? You know, like there's parts of me that I don't like. So when we allow ourselves just to sit with everything, and I think that's where the emotion comes from, isn't it? You know, we're just sitting and surrendering and letting it rise up rather than we spend the whole time trying to push it back down. And I'll eat more. I'll eat that feeling away, or I'll drink that feeling away, or I'll shop it away, or I'll, you know, just kind of put this front on. And again, it's just all of those things that we do. It's sending this message to ourselves that actually, I'm not good enough because I'm feeling this thing. So I think really powerful what you've said there is that actually when we sit with ourselves, the emotions rise to the surface, which is primarily what meditation is designed to do. It like facilitates this release, and the tears, you do feel so much better after you've had a good cry though, don't you?
Oh God, yeah, no, exactly like you said, it's kind of saying to yourself, no, don't let it out, and that's wrong, isn't it? It's yeah, so I mean, I'm really sensitive, as you know. I'm very sensitive, especially to other people's emotions. So I cry quite a bit. But I'm okay with it now. So I do have quite a few tears if I've had a bit of an overwhelming day. And I think with my husband, he always wants to try and fix it, you know. And I'm like, no, it's not. I just need to, you know, this is happening. You just want to cry, and that's it, and just let it out. And you do feel better afterwards, and it's fine. Even if you do it on your own or in the shower, you know, just and it's okay. Like you've always said to us, it's okay to feel like that. It's okay to feel overwhelmed. It's okay to have these emotions. That's just you, and you're not bad. You're not broken. You know, you are just who you are, and that's perfect. You know,
exactly a perfect expression of a human being, you know, and owning the fullness of what it means to be a human being is like not forcing the tears, but letting them come out and letting them. I talk about that a lot, you know, like there's a lot of kind of toxic positivity out there where people are like, you know, today's a good day, just be really positive, thank your, you know, count your blessings and all those things, and they are all helpful. Sometimes you do need a little bit of a kick up the bum, don't you? But also, I think it's sending us that message again that it's wrong to feel stuff, and actually we don't ever want to say to people, yes, I do want you to feel more positive, but I don't want you to deny or disown part of who you are, and I don't want you to suffocate yourself and mute your needs and not stand in your power. That's what standing in your power is owning every part of you. And I think using the meditation and the breath work, rather than it like moves it through your body, so that and that's the tears are like the physical evidence of that happening, rather than just pushing it down. It kind of sits in your stomach and you feel that heaviness, you know, and that sense, almost that bubbles up, that sense of desperation. So
Yeah. And you know it's going to come out. You know it's
Yeah.
going to come out at some stage, and it's going to come out whether you like it or not, and probably in the most inappropriate time. So I just
Yes.
let it out, you know, because I think I've had that before. You suddenly, you years ago, you push it down, and then you're in a situation and you think, oh no, it's coming, I can't stop it. So it's just easier to let it out. I think with because I do Reiki as well. That's all about emotion and holding it in and moving it through your body. So it's, in my belief, I believe that stress obviously causes illness and things like that. You just got to let it out, you know, just let it out, and it is okay. It is
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, I could talk about that in itself for hours. I just find that so interesting, and obviously all the energy work and Reiki and all those things. And one thing that I did want to pick up on is it was really interesting what you said there, right at the start when you were talking about your journey with your career and things, and that people used to kind of seek you out as somebody to kind of like offload to, you know, like. I find that's a thread. It's a common theme with all our instructors. You know that you have this ability to hold space for people, and I just wanted to just celebrate that for a minute, because that's something that it is true across the board. No matter which instructor you come and sit with, you know, you have this ability. Some of it is innate, some of it is taught, but this ability to allow people to just open up and then that facilitates this sense of self-love, because again, when you're allowing yourself to receive support from someone else as a client that's coming into those sessions, you know, and allowing yourself to be vulnerable enough to share. You don't have to share either, but you know, just allowing that release to take place, all of that builds into this sense of I'm nurturing my self acceptance, I guess. So before I go wildly off on a tangent, try and stick to the program. So I wanted to talk a little bit about confidence initially, because I think confidence is kind of goes hand in hand with self-love. Because I think the more self-love that you have, the more confident you are, and kind of like vice versa.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to talk about, for me, like how my self-confidence has massively improved since I adopted more fully or integrated into my daily life. That's how I should say it. Spiritual practice, because I've always been spiritual. I've always dabbled in stuff and been burying crystals in the garden and all that kind of stuff. But you know, like the real change that I saw happen was when I started to embed this into my daily life. And I will be really honest that actually this came out of necessity rather than just like a kind of a desire, if you like. I really feel like my spiritual practice came into its own after I had my little boy, and my whole world was turned on its head. My sense of identity as a new mum, like it was completely different. I wasn't going into work. I was a single mum as well, so I was doing everything like on my own. But that's when it really needed to kick in. So I found these tools when my confidence was absolutely at rock bottom. When I don't know what I'm doing as a parent, so again, it's like a starting afresh, starting anew. So I really had no foundation to build myself upon. So what is really interesting though is when I look back, I was also super duper shy as a child. So there's been threads of this all the way through. You know, like if you look at photos of me as a child, I'm always clinging to my mum's leg, or we'd go to like Blackpool or wherever you go, and there's like somebody dressed up as like a teddy bear or something, and I'm petrified. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere near that thing. You know, I was that child. My mum used to get really, she might be watching now, she comment if you want, Mum, but she will back me up when I say I was annoyingly scared, was clingy all the time. And when I look back at school, I knew the answers and I would never put my hand up. I never wanted to put myself in that position where I owned my power. I was always very depreciating of myself, I think, as well. Sort of didn't want anyone else to feel uncomfortable either, because I knew the answer. But also there was that element of, what if I don't know the answer? what if you're wrong?
Got it wrong. Yeah, exactly. Everyone's looking at you.
Yeah, so I never, even to the point where I'd never asked to go to the toilet, and I'd be desperate, to go through a wee. All those things and all those threads, and then it, like through later on my early career and all of that kind of stuff, I just really muted myself. I've always had the same sense of you, like I felt like there was something more for me, like I was supposed to be doing more in the world. I wasn't supposed to have like a normal job, but somehow I just kind of fell in line with the crowd and just went along with it and kind of disowned those parts of myself because I didn't have the confidence to go out there and try, I guess. And there's so many opportunities that I missed out on because I was scared of it not coming off, essentially. It all comes down to confidence. But I did find that my meditation practice really helped me. So before I go into that, do you want to talk a little bit about how you were in childhood or in your early adulthood, I guess, in terms of your confidence compared to where you are now? Because I can see a marked difference in myself. I mean, we're only talking like 7 years, but the fact I can come on here and I obsess over doing these episodes, like this is my life. My life is like, this is my joy, is coming on and just having unscripted, open, honest conversations. There is no way in hell I could have done this going back, but I always knew I had the capability. Somewhere there was that knowing that you can do this, but I just kept holding myself back. So can you see that in yourself, where there was like a mark? Was there a change at any point? What made the difference? How come you can do this, basically?
I don't know. I think it's been a long time coming. It's taken 42 years. I think when I was younger, I was shy. I was very shy. I just kept myself to myself. I've always had great friends and everything, but I wasn't really confident. But then looking back, I went to Australia when I was 18 for a year. So there is part of me that does push myself forward and know that I want to do something. I went to Hong Kong as well for a year teaching English when I was 24. So I know that I get this thing in me where I want to do it. And it's more with me when people say I can't, because I remember being in jobs prior to those times when I went off and being told, oh, you won't be able to do it. You'll be back in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And there was that. To be fair, I've blessed them for saying that to me, because I think it triggered something in me where I thought, no, I'm not. Not I'm going to prove it to you or anything like that, but it was, it just kind of triggered something in me to push forward. I had to be quite visible in my jobs and do training and things like that. So I think even with that, I remember I used to get nervous, but everything, when I look back over my timeline, if you like, everything that I've done has kind of been a stepping stone to where I am now. So it's just slowly got there. I mean, even when a child, I remember being really shy and not putting my hand up and kind of, really, really shy. And then it was only a few years ago, my great aunt told me a story that when my dad took me for my first day at school, and he walked me down there, and apparently he was really nervous of how I would be. But apparently I just turned around to him and said, bye, and just walked straight into school. And he was kind of like, oh, God. So there is that there, but I think maybe I just hid it because your doubts, your self-worth isn't great. I know I wouldn't say put myself second, but I used to always say, oh, it's only me, it doesn't matter. Oh, it's only me, it's okay, it's only me. So I would always put myself back or put my wants, desires or whatever behind. Do you see what I mean? And then now, because of this practice, everything's first, and it's not selfish, it's not bad, it's not conceited. I'm doing what I want to do when I want to do it. And for years, people say, you need to set boundaries. You need to start saying no. Like if I see clairvoyance, and I've always, like you, spiritual, and I used to say, oh, I can't say no, but now I do, because I'm more protecting myself to be able to give more, I suppose.
Yeah.
You just kind of, you just protect yourself a little bit more, but you set boundaries in a good way, just to help yourself, because I think there's a lot of people. I would say, I'm not in touch with a couple of people that I've had to, because I think it drains your energy sometimes, and it's like you're giving all the time, and then that was a powerful thing to do, because I thought this isn't serving me whatsoever. So it's
what
just,
do you think? Sorry to interrupt you there. What do you think allowed you to sort of make that change and go, do you know what? I need to do something here. What do you
because of the effect it was having.
Yeah.
The effect it was having on me. It was just draining me, and it was making me feel so tired, so drained, a bit stressed out. And I thought, this isn't of my doing. This isn't my doing. So yeah, I just kind of, it was a bit of a toxic friendship.
Yeah.
I've had the same friend since I was about 11, and they're brilliant. They're the same group. We still see each other regularly, and I miss them terribly. I can't wait to go on a night out with them all. So it's just certain things like that, and that was quite empowering to do, just because you've got to do it. It's I didn't feel bad either. It wasn't like I wasn't getting anything from that relationship, if you like. So yeah, just it had to be. It had to be. And this was years ago. It just had to be done, and it was fine. But it made me feel better, because it was just a constant pull, if you like. Somebody that wanted your attention all the time. But then when you gave advice, when you gave the same advice over and over again for a few months, and they're not taking your advice, if you like, because it's going to make them feel better, you can't. There's nothing more you can do. You see what I mean? There's nothing more I can do, and it was. Yeah,
it's a level of confidence and self-awareness, self-love, to be able to let go of what's not serving you. And I think, going back to what I said at the beginning, like the people that we surround ourselves with, and those friendships and those relationships kind of form part of our identity. So to let a friendship go, whether it's toxic or not, takes guts. It takes confidence to do that.
No, exactly. I mean, it was a work friendship, but it was just it was just one-sided, and it was just I think you realise then, no, they're not ever interested in you or what you're doing. It's just what you can do for them. And I think because it went on for a long time, I just thought, I can't. This is, it wasn't nice to do. I don't, you don't want to do that.
No.
But again, it's boundaries, isn't it? And you're just protecting yourself, and it's, again, so. Like I said, it's just been a slow process. It's not like I suddenly woken up and felt confident or anything like that. It's just been a real slow, step-by-step process, really.
And I think that's really important to know as well. I think we think to ourselves, well, if I just do this thing that's a bit scary, or I just put myself first that one time, then it's kind of like I'm fixed, like I'm going to be super confident forevermore. And I think one of the biggest things that I've learned is that you have to cultivate it. You have to work with it and develop it. And it's a daily practice, really, coming back to yourself, coming back to that balanced place, and really understanding who I am as well in the midst of all of this. I mean, there's loads I can talk about on that, really. But to take it back to, like I say, I think that what you spoke about there ties into self-love and to confidence. They're both interlinked anyway. But again, I think it takes a lot of guts to do what you've done, and also to sit here right now and talk about it as well, because people just brush these things over. I think in our community, like in the well-being and the spiritual kind of industry, it's very love and light, and I think it all looks very neat and pretty and and glittery and stuff, and actually it's real, and it's difficult sometimes to honor yourself in the way that you've just described. But I think for me, meditation kind of allows me to First of all, it stops me being as stressed.
Mm.
I think when we're so stressed and we're so busy, we don't notice all those things that you've spoke about, you know, and you just keep on giving and keep on putting everyone else first and just keep on going. You're like on this treadmill. So I find for me, meditation gives me like a breathing space, like a pause. I can come back to myself and start again. And then it's like I notice more of the magic. And within that, the magic's not always light. It's not always light, you know, like I notice the details. I get this heightened sense of awareness again. It's almost like you've reset your senses, you've reset your intuition. You notice stuff, don't you? So that's the first thing I find for me, is that then I'm able to have awareness of what's happening in my world and my situation, but also from that point, once I'm up to that balance point, I'm much less risk averse anyway, you know, because when I'm stressed, my brain is looking for problems. It's searching for, and I've said this every single Excel TV so far, but it's actually designed to search for worst case scenarios. So like if you'd come at your this kind of like I'm going to call it a conscious uncoupling from this relationship, I guess, but if you'd have come at it from a point of stress, all your brain's telling you to do is you better keep on to this friendship because you haven't got enough. You need that person in your life, you know, or that person will then go and do this to you. You know, all those worst case scenarios that come up, they're much more likely to be there when you are stressed, because your brain is designed to keep you safe. So part of keeping you safe is thinking about every single thing that could go wrong. So I think just taking yourself back to that reset point of like calm and stillness gives you the opportunity to take action. But also, I think, you know, to talk about just in confidence, just in more generally, when we meditate, we generate our like alpha brainwaves, which allow us to feel more relaxed, but also much more creative. And I think what's been really interesting and empowering for me is noticing that when I feel more creative, I'm much more open to myself being seen, because it's almost like I am letting go of expectations and roles and responsibilities. So I find the more creative I am, the more fun I have, the more joy that I have, the more I think outside the box. Actually, although it's scary to put yourself out there in some ways, the more that I do that, the more confident I am. So I think even doing things like this and like just being playful and having fun and having open conversations, you know, like this was just like something I've always wanted to do actually, but I think the meditations just allowed me to go, okay, you can do this, you can step forward, and also just have the creativity to think of the ideas and just run with them. So I think, okay, so that's confidence. How then has your practice sort of helped with has it helped your self acceptance or your sense of self-love? How's your practice kind of supported that? And as you say, it's still a journey, we're not at the end goal, but how can you give me any examples or any top tips, I guess, of how if anyone is struggling with their sense of identity or liking themselves a little bit more, like, can you talk us through how it's helped you, what you've done?
I think just with the meditation practice and just sitting in silence, like you said, with the creative things that come up, but you're just standing in your being, if that makes sense, or sitting in your being, and because you're just there, anything that comes up, if you're overwhelmed, you're sitting with all those thoughts, you're sitting with just who you are, the decisions you've made that haven't been so good, but it doesn't matter because they've led you to where you are now. It's just acceptance, I think. It's just accepting everything you've done, even the wrong things or the kind of bad things where you think they're bad, and just allowing yourself to, okay, well, that didn't work out, or, you know, buggered that up or whatever, but it's okay, you know, it doesn't matter. And I think if you just sit there with it, when you kind of look back, everything that's happened happened for a reason. I mean, life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. So once you look back and I think I keep a timeline, so I don't do diaries or anything like that. I literally do a year on year, so where I've been, what job I've been in, and I've done it since I've left school. So it's good to look back on just to see where you've been, and just like a timeline, so it's quick. It's not like, years and years of diaries, because I can't commit to things like that. I'm not a routine person. I don't know why. I like just doing what I want, I suppose, when I want. I don't want to be held down to my own routine that I've set. So I do the timeline, but it's just sitting with you, all the goodness and all the badness, if you like, and just accepting it, that it's fine, and you're here, like you say to us, something loved you enough to give you this life.
Yeah.
And it's just, you're only here once on this lifetime, so just make the best of it. It's cycles, isn't it? Life is cycles. There's good turns to bad. You're going to go through a bad thing, but it's okay. It's going to be nothing that you can't handle, even though it is going to be absolute shit. Sorry to swear, but it is going to be shit at times. But you've just got to go with it. The only way out is through, and you've just got to get through it, and you will.
So true. And I think to pick up on that a little bit, I think the practice as well, so meditation, and there's loads of other ways to do it, but when we sit and you feel, I've said this before, but the only way I could describe it is like, it feels like you're touching heaven. You feel this sense of, when you go deep, you feel this sense of love and support, and like those moments as you described, when it is absolute total shit, and you need to know that somebody has got your back. And just that notion, like, I know it's my own quote, which makes me laugh that I have my own quotes, like I say these things as I'm leading you all through meditation, something loved you enough to give you life. I mean, it's so powerful, like that, but that love is genuine, it's true, it's unconditional, it's honest, and it's there whether you like it or not. You can choose to tap into it. And what I find for me is that my practice allows me to settle myself enough that I can journey to this place where somehow I can feel it. But the irony is, and you'll know this because you've done it yourself, but when you're in meditation, there is no, and when you're in that deep state of transcendence, our brain becomes so settled that we're no longer aware of thought. So when I'm actually having that experience where I'm touching heaven, if you like, or when I'm more aware of the magic, and there's so much magic and joy to experience in the world, I'm in that space, but I only know I've been in that space when I start thinking again. So it's when I've come out the other side. But I think for me, that allows me, knowing that something, obviously you've got your friends, your family, boyfriends, partners, whatever, girlfriends, whoever, that love you. But there's always that sense of like, that's like, there could be a little bit it's a little bit conditional, whereas this is something that just feels so pure and so honest and so beautiful. So that helps me to move forward, knowing that I'm supported. So that helps my confidence, as well as this sense of self-acceptance. I was given everything, every experience is a gift to me, and it's a choice. Sometimes I don't want to feel like that. And I think that's really important to say, is that people watching this probably think, oh, it's all right for you because like you wake up and you feel energized, or you feel all these things, but actually you have to work at it. Exactly. Some days you don't feel like it, do you? And you do feel like, why me? And like, I don't like that about myself. And I have to, what meditation's also taught me to do is catch, and this is really key. This is maybe the most important thing I think about this whole conversation, is it's actually helped me catch my negative voice. There's like that, look, there's an angel on your shoulder and there's a devil on the other shoulder. And I don't mean that religiously or spiritually, I just mean there's two voices in your head, and that exists, and it's there the whole time. So even as I'm speaking to you, there's that other part of me that's observing my thought or observing what's going on. And that's amazing, like that our brains can do that. But sometimes that little voice is going, what are you saying that for? Or if you were if you're a better meditation instructor, then you would have said this. If you were a better trainer, you would have said that. If you were a better mum, you would have said that. Or you better not eat that because that means this about you. You know, like that voice that is constantly there in the background. And I think when we're so busy, that just becomes your narrative. Like that's how all that we are starts with thought, and that voice sort of becomes the leader. So that defines your identity. That little voice becomes sort of forms who you are and what you think your capabilities are, what the possibilities are for you, what the outcomes and situations are for you. This little voice is telling me that, and it's just sat there constantly. So what I found with meditation is the more that I meditate, the more I'm able to catch that voice and then put it back in its box. I don't have to do anything with it.
Punch
Yeah, like, get out of it. But like a lot of, there's a lot of counselling, there's a lot of talking therapies, there's a lot of analysis that you could do. But what meditation actually helps me to do is just let it go. It's like, I'm really busy, I've got this little voice in my head, I'm clinging onto it, I'm letting that define my behaviour, because thought creates our feelings, so our emotions create our behaviour translates into our body language. It becomes this big cycle, but the thought comes first. And I think what we can do then, what we learn to do through meditating, is just being able to go, I'm just going to leave that thought there and I'm just going to carry on. Don't have to pick another one, don't have to do anything else. I'm just putting that down. And the reason why meditation teaches how to do that is because when you are resting your awareness on the focus of your meditation, so that might be a sound, it might be a settling sound, a mantra, it might be the teacher's voice, or if you're listening to it on YouTube or on an app, it's the person leading that meditation. That's your focus of where your awareness is going to rest on that focus. And when I notice myself thinking, all I have to do is take myself back to that focus. And the practice of doing that over and over and over again is just putting the thought down and coming back to where I want my focus. Put the thought down. No analysis, no criticism, no judgment, no nothing. And again, that helps yourself, your sense of self-love, because it's like, I'm okay. I don't have to berate myself. I don't have to be critical of myself. I can just put this down. So the more I meditate, the more I practice that, I'm actually strengthening neural pathways in my brain, which actually, if you're going to come at a scientific base, like the more I do it, the stronger those neural pathways come, the easier it is for me to just put that thought down. And for me, that's one thing that I've really noticed in the past, say, 7 years is, oh my gosh, I am mean to myself. Mean. But now I've got this skill where I can go, that's a little bit mean. It's like I'm observing myself. I'm observing my own mind. I'm watching my own Sky News feed. And I always think about thoughts coming through our brains like a Sky News feed, like this thing at the bottom of the screen now. Like it's constant. I can put it down now. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I think I hate saying the word because it just sounds a bit cheesy, but inner work. I've been doing a lot of inner work, but it has like why this and why do you feel like this and why that, and I think everyone speaks to themselves a bit negatively.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, oh, you're so stupid. I used to always, oh, you're so stupid, kind of like think. And it used to be like a third person, You're silly. I just do that stupid, but I don't. I'm like, no. I kind of just say no to it now. Not in meditation, but when I'm kind of out and about, if you like, I just no, not thinking it. But it's that word should. I hate that word should. I hate it. You should have done this, or you should have done that. You need to do this, and maybe you shouldn't have done that. You should have done. I hate it's like should. How nobody else can say to you should have done this, or you should. They're not you. They haven't lived. Have got your opinions, your perceptions. They're not you, so no one else can give you their opinion. And I remember I won't say it because it's rude, but somebody told me that opinions are like everyone's got one, and I think you have to deal with people's opinions on your life and what you're doing, but with meditation it's just you, so you're just there with your thoughts, and you trust your instinct more.
So true.
I've trusted decisions more. I used to always sort of a worry wart and used to think about the right decision, or should I be doing this, or should I be doing that? When you meditate, you just clear all that, and it's like it's automatic. It seems to just grow, and it's suddenly there without you having to think about it. You know, nothing is like, oh, because after 5 meditation sessions, I'm now at this stage or anything. You see what I mean? It's like a natural, just a natural growth. So you're just there naturally, but it's just, I found that more than anything, my decisions, my instinct on things, and just with the self-love, because you're just, again, I think when I was younger at school, it used to always go, oh, she loves herself, or talking about someone else like it was bad, like it was really, oh, it's kind of conceited and arrogant if you do, but it's not. It's just a healthy respect for you and what you want and who you are.
It's so interesting you should say that, because I have this running joke with me and my friends. So I say a lot, you know, if someone says to me, oh, you look lovely today, or, you know, I don't know, it might say something nice to me. In the past, I'd go, oh, it's only from Primark.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks really greasy. No. And actually now I've trained myself, and again, it's a practice. I've trained myself to say thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
I think that is so powerful, is because that's learning to receive love. And I think somewhere along the line we start to, it's like a British thing as well, isn't it? I think
massively
like American people are way better. They're so pumped up, and they're just better at it, aren't they? But I think we're very depreciating, as I've said, and I think that's something that's been really powerful for me. It's just be like, thank you, because then I'm open to seeing the parts of me that other people see. And at first it was like, I really don't believe this, but I'm just going to say thank you. But now I'm like, yeah, thank you, actually. And again, that ties into that thing of, it's a practice. It's something that you have to work out and cultivate it. But I really liked what you said about just sitting and honoring yourself and just allowing yourself just to, it's the only time really where we sit and we're not influenced by external factors, you know, society and Instagram and Facebook and whatever, all these things. And this has been a common theme for all of the Exhale TVs that we've done so far, but like everything is influencing our belief about ourselves, you know, like, and we're shaping and molding ourselves because everybody's scared of not having acceptance from others. You know, that's a big driver for people, is the acceptance from other people. So I think what's really amazing is when you sit with yourself, it's the only time where really, when you go deep, that outsideness, you know, all those external influences aren't present, or they're not the forefront of your mind anyway, but they also, you just kind of sit with yourself, you honor who you are without that narrative from yourself, but also from everywhere else. And something else that I wanted to say that you brought into my mind, it's gonna go out again in a minute, this is what happens to me a lot at the moment, is that what was I gonna say? Oh my gosh, where has it gone? It'll come back to me. You were talking about less comparison of others, less comparing yourself to other people, but also that sense of like owning who you are. And I think, again, to go scientific on it, when you meditate, your prefrontal cortex kind of shuts off, it goes offline for a little bit, but then when it comes back on, and the type of meditation practice that we do, the transcendental element of it as well, kind of reignites the prefrontal cortex, which is this bit is our sense of self. And I think what's really important to say is that, like, you can't love yourself if you don't know who you are to begin with, because there's all these influences, people saying this is important, people pulling us that way. You know, I think with Glennon Doyle talks about, you know, every day something will grab you by the hand and say, this is important, but you just got to put your hand back on your heart and say, no, this is important. And you can't see what I'm doing here, but I'm putting my hands on my heart, that this is what's important, you know. And I think it's the science behind it helps me understand what's happening when I'm meditating, is that this bit is getting the blood flow sent back to it. When we're stressed, our blood flow is diverted away from the prefrontal cortex, and eventually, actually, if it was diverted away enough, you actually get holes in your brain matter. What meditation can do is fill those holes in eventually so that the prefrontal works better. And that gives me my sense of self. Once I've got my sense of self, I understand what's important to me. I understand my boundaries, which is picking up on what you were talking about before when you said about shutting down that friendship, because it crossed boundaries. It helped you understand what made you feel good and what didn't. And another thing you said, so there's so much gold in what you said there, actually. You know, like when we sit and we're quiet enough, we can hear the wisdom that's within. You know, our bodies are powerful. Some of us get like images, some of us get words, some of us get like kind of bolts of insight. Other people feel things in their bodies. And I think that's something that we all, as a base level, have the capability to do. You know, we're all able to read the messages that our bodies send us. That's what our bodies are designed to do. So I can walk into any given situation and know whether that is a good place for me to be or not, because my body will tell me whether it's feeding me, whether it's nourishing me, or whether it's depleting me, which is what you were saying before. You know, like it was kind of like you felt drained by this relationship and that circumstance. But I think the more quiet we become, the more able we are to listen to those signs and those signals, so then I can then take action later on. So I think the getting quiet part of it, whilst we use gorgeous music as well, there is interspersed with beautiful moments of silence and stillness. And that's when you can really start to learn to listen, and just the mindful movements, getting in touch with your breath and how your breath changes as you move. You know, the more that you interact with that, the more you can start to see when there's changes when you're going about your daily life. You know, now I can feel sometimes when my chest is getting tight. You know, I'm able to recognize that as an early warning sign before I fall off the hill, you know, down into that, and that loud voice starts talking to me again, and all the society comes in on me and all that kind of stuff. So it's really powerful. But the last thing that I want to pick up on of what you said was about our inner wisdom and our intuition. And I think the more you can use that, the better, because again, that's full acceptance of who you are. You know, like when we deny that voice that's within, when we deny that gut feeling, when we don't act on it, and it takes confidence again to do it, but when we don't do that, we're like denying part of who we are. And I think it's really important to, and it's a muscle, it's an intuition muscle, I like to call it, a wisdom muscle. Like the more you use it, the stronger it gets, if you like. But I think that really plays a part in how we feel about ourselves. We have absolutely everything that we need within. Like, we don't need to look externally. So at the moment when we feel so trapped within our own houses, and it's normal and natural and human, actually we could use this opportunity to go deeper within and fully express like ourselves. So it's that internal voice, that wisdom, that goddessness, if you like, can come out.
Because of the time we've had this year, I think a lot of people are kind of thinking about where they are, where they want to be, and don't really want to go back to work, or do you know what I mean, make that change. So I think with any kind of negative situation, there's always a positive. Definitely. And I think a lot of people are doing that, which is great. I've seen a lot of people, or heard, you know, I want to go back to work, and made them realise that they're not in the position that they want to be in.
Yes.
And just, and kind of so many people I think have retrained, or it's great because of all the, you know, reduction on courses and things like that at the moment. So many people are kind of looking elsewhere and doing other things.
Exactly. And I think that's a massive act of self-love, isn't it? To go, do you know what? Where I'm at right now, this isn't what I wanted. This isn't, you know, like, and I think we're on fast forward all the time. So we kind of, I know for me, again, because I just wanted to be accepted, wanted to keep up with the Joneses, wanted to do what everyone else is doing. I ended up on a uni course I never wanted to do, didn't actually finish it. I did in the end, don't be wrong, but I left to go off and be cabin crew. We did that for a bit, stuck at that for 8 years, even though I hated it from my first flight. You know, like, because I just wanted, you're just on this treadmill, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And this, like,
it's security, isn't it? It's you have to have a job, you know, and that's, you know, you've got to be employed. Obviously, you've got to be employed, but it was never promoted to kind of do stuff that we had. Our careers advisor, I think, pretty much was our gym instructor, dressed up like in jeans and came in and was talking to us about careers. But it was literally secretary, admin, just do that. It was kind of that, you know, that was the choice you were given, just as a woman, you know, secretary, admin, you know what I mean, keep it small kind of thing. So we did, you know, and it wasn't about anything else. I mean, I remember looking at the UCAS, like the massive like Bible of all the different things you can do, and being like, Christ, I didn't, you know, because it was always just kept small.
Like society sort of, I mean, it's getting better, but it's still a long way to go, isn't there? But, you know, like it's designed to keep us small. You know, like everything about being a woman, I suppose, you know, like a lot of that, you know, we're minimized. We're the ones who have to do the housework. We're the ones that have to, you know, so we haven't got time to do all this other stuff. But I think things are changing, things are getting better.
Massively, yeah.
But I think it takes a lot of courage to kind of go, do you know what? I'm not going to let somebody else define my role, my responsibility, my pay thresholds, my ceiling, my glass ceiling is defined by me. But I think without the time to get still, how can you understand what your goals are? Like what your capabilities are, what your vision is, where you want to be, what makes you happy, what doesn't make you happy. So whilst, as you're saying, like lockdown has been absolutely horrendous for a lot of people, there is that joy to be found, and actually, you know, and acting on that, getting still enough to hear it, but then acting on that as well is probably the greatest act of self-love, because it's almost like, and I've spoke about this on another XLTV, you know, you've got to throw yourself off the cliff to know that you're going to be caught and you're going to get bashed up along the rocks and things are going to get a little bit rough. Maybe you're going to get your clothes a bit torn, but unless you jump, your wings are never going to unfold. How are you going to trust yourself until you let yourself try? But it's hard.
Yeah, it's just it's getting out of that comfort zone, and once you do, you know, you know you're okay. You're always going to be okay. You know, things are going to happen, but it's after you've done it. I think when anything you've ever thought about doing and not wanted to do it because of that, and then done it, you feel so much proud of yourself afterwards. You know, and I think it's that as well. It's like we said about earlier with Americans are so good at that, and we're kind of not like celebrating our achievements. I did. So I've got another business, and I carried that on just because it was something that I've always done, the health and safety. And a few months ago, I won an award, and I was telling my friend about it, and I just poo-pooed it. Yeah, you know, blah, blah, blah. And we go for walks on the beach, and she said to me, no, Jodie, that's really good. And I said, no, it's all right. It's probably, and I really kind of played it down. And it was good because she really did give me a kick up the bottom, because she was like, no, I'm telling you, it's good. I told my husband, and I was like, and I still went back to say, no. Yeah, I kind of stopped and say, yeah, no, it is. And only later on, I think I was washing up, and I was thinking about it and other things, and that's where the self-love comes in, because you have to do yourself up a little bit and kind of say, no, you're bloody good. Do you know what I mean? What you've done and what you've, you know, you're good. You've done well. You know, with anything. I'm not a mother, but like with being a single mother or just a mother, when you see women that have got, you know, 3 kids under 5, and Christ, they're just on the go all the time, and you want to, like, that's what I miss with an XL class. I can't wait to be able to cuddle people when they've cried, you know, because we're not allowed that attention. But I think just to do that and just to say, you know, that you're doing so well, and there's no right or wrong. You know, I can't imagine what that's like, and stress, and then work as well. I've got friends that have got children and they work and they go to London and this, and I'm like, how do you do it? You know, it's just, you know, one friend said to me, I do scream into a pillow quite often.
Yes.
Like, she said, I just sometimes just, you know, it just gets overwhelming, everything. So it's just knowing that it's okay. You know, you really are doing well, you know.
Yes. No, we're not machines, you know, we're not designed to, you know, like we're very resilient. We have this amazing capacity to deal with stress, but only in short bursts. You know, like our sort of capacity for stress is born out of a need to be able to run away from saber-toothed tigers or T-Rex or whatever was about when we were cavemen and women. But like somehow we've evolved into this state where we are pretty much constantly on the go and in this stressed out fight or flight state, which our bodies aren't very good at sustaining.
No.
You know, I think also like just having that pause, you know, and just recognizing that, you know, like we kind of celebrate, don't we? Celebrate burnout. We celebrate being able to multitask and do all these things. And actually, like what we need to be celebrating is, yes, you are doing amazing, as you say, like juggling all those balls, you know, those, you know, those situations that you mentioned, but also like we want to celebrate when we pause and when we stop. And then we're then able to celebrate ourselves, which I thought was really interesting what your friend had said, you know, that she really recognized it, that you've done amazing. But because we're kind of living in this world where we're like, it's not good enough, I need to do better, or I need to aim for the next thing and keep going, and we're on this treadmill, you know, like just the power of that pause, like she pulled you up and gave you that pause where you can go, yes, actually, I did amazing there. And that's what we need to celebrate, isn't it? You know, the fact that you can, our bodies are amazing, people are amazing, we achieve amazing things, but we also are human and we also have limits, and it's like, okay, let's stop, slow down, pause, celebrate, and then reconfigure, I suppose. Like, is this working for me? Is this working for me? And moving forwards like that. But again, this is talking for ages. We're on 56 minutes, Jodie. So we're going to have to the couple of things that I wanted to kind of pick up on just to summarize and finish is that, like, for me, meditation has massively helped my confidence. The main way that it's done that is by helping with that negative voice that we all have that exists, that sits there, that's just this undercurrent of just like barrage of abuse that's defining what I think is possible for myself. And also the other thing is that, you know, just sitting and honoring yourself and owning everything that you are and everything that you're experiencing. Like the very first thing we spoke about was that sometimes at Exhale class you cry, and that's just the perfect expression of like humanness, you know, like, and just that release and just allowing yourself to feel exactly what you feel. That's the greatest act of self-love. But there were so many tips. Just slow down, breathe, break away from unhealthy relationships, own who you are, celebrate who you are, all those things on the daily. You know, this is a daily practice. So that's my little summary. But before we go, I'd love you, Jodie, to let us know what plans you've got, what you're doing at the moment, so like days and times that you teach. And then after we've left, if you want to drop into the comments and put down your booking link. So what's going on for you at the moment? What's coming up? How can we work with you?
So it's all online. I would like to back to the community centre, but to be fair, I just think at the moment, especially with just December, I think there's just too much going on now. It's Christmas and everything, so it's just online, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 8:30. There will be more classes coming in, but I'll let everyone know about that on social media. Yeah, just other bits and pieces. I think I'm going to be doing some more training. Yeah, there's other things I don't want to say at the minute. Not that I'm being secretive. There's just a few things happening at the minute. So again, kind of retraining or training more. Rahani healing. I think I'm going to be tuning into that. Yeah, so I've had that done a couple of times, and it's been really powerful. I love Reiki and Rahani. So yeah, and there's just some other things. I had a soul purpose reading done by Emma Jane. Emma Jane. It is Emma Jane.
Yes.
I didn't know I got that wrong. It was Emma Jane. She was brilliant. So that's kind of been a big insight for me. So yeah, just some changes happening, but all good. It's all about serving. It's all about serving and helping. So that's all I want to do. But yeah, the classes are beautiful, especially the online as well, because you're just at home in your comfies. You can have your own incense and candles, and go straight to sleep afterwards. So
exactly, it's the perfect precursor to sleep. I always say that to people, like, you will sleep, and this is what everybody comes back and says, I slept like a baby. Like, it just winds you down through the gears really slowly, really gently, really prepares you for a beautiful night's sleep. So I would highly recommend that you log on before bedtime. You could even do it from your bed, couldn't you?
Oh yeah. Yeah, some of my ladies do. It's lovely. Yeah.
Perfect.
It is. It's lovely. You don't have to see, when you're doing the end part, you don't have to be watched.
No.
Move your screen, turn it off. So no, it's lovely. I love doing the classes. It's been a real starting point for other things to come in, but it's lovely. I can't wait for things to be back to normal and to do events. And I spoke to we're going to do some. And a yoga teacher's going to come in, and maybe Indian head massages, and do little events and things, just like a few hours or a day. So yeah, I think people need it, and it's. I will go.
Don't they?
Yeah.
There's loads more, lots of hugs coming, lots more events coming. So Jodie will pop in the comments and put down her booking link. But thank you to everyone who's joined me. If you, I always meant to say this at the beginning and I forget. But if anybody watches this on the replay, please let us know with #replay. This will be going up on Instagram TV. If you thought it was helpful, useful, whatever else, please do comment below. And please do let us know actually your tips for self-love and where you're at with that and your journey with that. And yeah. And that's it. We'll go. We've been on just over an hour. So thank you for those of you that joined us for the whole thing, because that's really amazing. Thank you for taking the time out of your day. So we will see. Well, I'll be back next week. I'm talking to Chloe from Exhale Cheshire East about the moon and how we. I know. I'm excited for this one. It's a bit more spiritual one than we've done.
Love that. Yeah, she's got a great page, isn't she? I love all that information about the moon.
Yes, it was really exciting. Actually, I'm excited for that. We'll talk about how you can use how you can work with the changing cycles of the moon and how that can support you bringing changes in your life that you want to see. And Emma says really useful tips, and so true. The stillness is so powerful. So thank you. And I know that Felicity commented before, and my mum commented before as well. So thank you for everyone that joins us. Every time you comment, it does make a difference to the reach that we get for these, so we can help more people. So we will go, and I will see you all next week. Thank you, Jodie.
Thank you. See you later.